Lance Hall here for Let's Discuss with Lance Hall. Happy to welcome Dan Watson, guitarist for Hexx, to the program tonight. How you doing, Dan?
Great, Lance. Thanks for having me on, man. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. I was trying to remember. I think this is possibly the second time we've talked, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, didn't we do something like this for the Wrath of the Reaper release?
I believe we did. But
Okay.
got a new release coming out September 25th on High Roller Records called Entangled in Sin. I've heard an advanced copy. It's really, really good stuff, Dan.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much, Lance.
Let's start at the beginning with the album title. How did you come up with Entangled in Sin?
Oh, in the songwriting process, a lot of times I'll just write down titles that sound provocative to me and stir my imagination, and that was on one of the list of titles I had. I thought would make an interesting song, and so I wrote a song around the title.
Very cool. Very cool. How about the cover art? I don't want to butcher this guy's name too bad. Is it Roberto Todrico?
That's correct.
All right.
Very good.
Someone you've worked with before?
Yeah, he did the Wrath of the Reaper cover, and he did a T-shirt design for us too back about 5-6 years ago.
Now, is this a design he came up with? You guys sort of sketched out an idea, or?
No, it was an idea. Our manager Bart Gabriel and I kind of cultivated together. I had several ideas, and he rejected the first 3 or 4 because they were too controversial or too not appropriate, I guess. And this was the one he finally allowed me to go with.
Now, Bart also produced the album as well, correct?
Yeah, he was very involved in the production, especially the early pre-production process where, I was writing songs and making demos with the band, and I would send him the live demo of a song I thought was getting pretty close to being ready, and then he would comment on it, and, we'd go back and forth, and we did that for all the songs. So he was very involved in the pre-production process. He's in Poland, so he couldn't be here in California for the recording sessions.
Right.
But, he was able to kind of help guide us, so that, we had the best songs and the strongest material we could come up with,
Absolutely. Tom, is it Narducci engineered?
Tim Narducci, yeah.
Tim, okay. Sorry about that, Tim.
That's okay. Yeah, no, he's a great guy, man, and he's super talented, man. He's like off the charts talented guy.
Cool. Excellent.
And a super nice guy, too.
Yeah. And it was recorded, let's see, I got a note here, Sonic Room Studios in Livermore, California.
Yep, that's his studio. That's where he works out of.
Tim's studio, okay, very cool. Like I said, I listened to an advanced copy. I made some notes on a few of the songs I wanted to talk to you a little bit about. First track 1, Watching Me Burn. That opening scream took me back to like 1985. It was just so vintage.
That's great. That's music to my ears because this whole album was we really wanted to try to capture that nostalgic vibe and feeling from the mid '80s. That, in my opinion, really hasn't been reproduced. And well, in some senses it has, but I mean, the way I want to hear it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Definitely. I mean, the minute that came up, I was like, I had myself, in like the New Haven Coliseum where I used to go to all my concerts down in Connecticut, and just being there, at 21, 22 years old, and just seeing these bands and just hearing that scream just took me back, to a hot August night, and it was awesome. Good stuff.
That's great. That's you just made my day by saying
that. Let's see, Entangled in Sin, title track. Really good tune, and I'm trying to, because I don't have a lyric sheet right in front of me, so I'm trying to listen to the lyrics as well. Am I hearing some serious father issues in that tune?
Yes, actually, the truth is, I grew up I was born into a religious cult where my father was the leader in the 60s and 70s, and I got to see firsthand how manipulative religious leaders can be, and how when people prefer belief over critical thinking, how they can be led and manipulated,
Yeah.
So, yeah, I have all kinds of father and issues and issues with religion and all kinds of stuff. So that's the way it is, What can I
Yeah.
say?
So were you
Hey,
able to use a song like that as sort of a catharsis?
what's that?
Were you able to use? Are you able to use like a song like that as a bit of a catharsis on things?
Yeah, well, it's kind of a personal thing, and I've been reluctant to voice it in songs and things, and it just kind of bubbled up. When you're writing songs, and especially with metal, 80s metal, I think back on what made me write that other song, and I was angry, I was frustrated, and so these things are fodder for great metal songs.
Mm-hmm.
I think,
Yeah.
it's I gotta get out my issues and my frustrations, and you know, it it just came out. It was
Absolutely.
time to come out, I guess.
Just because we're not teens, and I'm a little older too. I mean, I'm in my 50s. I'll say. Um, just because you're out of your teens doesn't mean you don't still have that angst and that stuff that goes along with it. Even though we're into our getting up there and long in tooth is what I'm trying to say a little bit.
Yeah, yeah, no, I know what you're saying, and
Yeah.
yeah, and the thing is, if you're as you get older, as you should get wiser,
Mm.
and the problem is, you start seeing the world more for what it is in reality, and it's it's fucked up, man. It pisses me off. What can I say?
I agree. I agree. Yes, yes.
I'm an angry old man.
Yeah, I like to. Yeah, as I said, I'm become one of those crotchety old men.
Yeah, me too.
Grumpy old men.
And I'm only going to get worse. So this is probably as nice as you're going to see me right here.
um, Track three, Vultures Gather Round. A real heavy groove on that song. It's heavy, but it's got a groove to it. And I'm a guitar solo guy. Killer guitar solo in that song.
Well, thank you. Yeah,
Yeah.
both Bobby and I traded solos in that. Bob Wright, from Broken Helm,
Mm,
and yeah, that song lended itself to inspirational soloing. Just the way the rhythm was laid down, and
yeah.
it
Yeah.
was fun. It was a fun record to make. All the songs were actually designed from the beginning to be easy and fun to play live, because I was talking with our drummer John Schaefer. When we were talking about, man, this next record we really got to, because we've made some pretty complex, technically difficult to play songs in the
Yeah.
past, and it's great when you're making on a record. But sometimes when you get on stage and you try to pull that off, it just goes out the window, man, because you can't hear or there's problems, whatever. So we wanted to make songs that were, I don't know, say, simple, but easy and had more groove and riff oriented, that really got a catchy groove, and it brings you in rather than trying to play a bunch of fancy notes and show how what technical proficient players we are.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, that tune really had a really nice groove to it. Gonna jump ahead to Internal Enemy. I read somewhere that you were sort of going for a Scorpions Love Drive sort of sound with this.
Yeah.
The thing that caught me on this is when the solo comes in, the band underneath is just chugging. I mean, almost it reminded me of like a train. Almost like in uh, Foghat Live. What was that tune on Foghat Live that sounded like a train? Honey Hush.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Where you got the train chugging, and I got that same sort of train chugging on this one too. Just a killer tune. Tell us a little bit about Internal Enemy.
Um, that's that song came about, like we said. I was actually inspired by. I mean, Scorpions' Love Gun album is like a favorite of mine, but the song that we kind of took that from was Another Piece of Meat. It
Yeah.
had that kind of that furious, wild vibe that you don't hear much anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And so we kind of were influenced and inspired by that. And the lyrics, the Internal Enemy is basically about people that, you know, first of all, I guess I should, you know, I'm an atheist, so for the for the people that are believers, you know, to me, it's they're, you know, looking at it's within themselves. You know, it's not an external force; it's an internal force, and it tells them what to do, and sometimes it's not a good thing. You know, so that was my take on the internal enemy.
Very cool. Good stuff. You're gonna have to help me out. This is incredibly embarrassing. I wrote down the song title, but in with my shitty handwriting, I can't see the first word. The grave. Is it Starve the Grave? Strive the Grave. Okay, sorry about that.
That's okay.
That song is making my Halloween playlist. Definitely. And
Great.
and that one almost had sort of like down tuned, sort of sludgy feel to it. I thought, you know.
Yeah, we were experimenting. Originally, it was much slower, and I sent the you know, the early rehearsal tapes to Bart Gabriel, and then he says, "Oh, you know, you're not in the pocket. You know, you got to find the right beats per minute. You know, the tempo to groove. You know, so that the crowd can groove to it. You know, and so we kept bumping up the beats per minute, and I kept sending it back, and we finally agreed upon a right groove, and that really made a big difference. You know, we feel that now it's sitting right in the pocket, and it just has that groove, and you know, to me that works out really well. And I go back and listen to the older versions where it's really slow, and go, oh, I'm so glad we didn't record it that slow.
Yeah.
It wouldn't work. So hats off to Bart Gabriel for that one.
Yeah, speed me up just a little bit. Wise to the ways of the world. I can hear almost a slight Celtic tinge in bits and places in this one, and then
really?
yeah, just there was a little series of guitar notes that just, I don't know, just to me it reminded me of sort of a Celtic thing. Lyrics kind of sci-fi stuff.
yeah. It's well, "Wise to the Ways of the World" is kind of another one of those kind of anti-religion songs, you know. And you got to realize, you know, first of all, I want to make it clear, you know, that it's not my intention to attack people's beliefs or bash their particular faith.
Sure.
I'm simply, you know, with a cover and with some of these songs, I'm trying to bring to light the truth about our oppressors and how many of them have used religions to manipulate the masses into conformity through, you know, fear and intolerance. And so, you know, like I said, it's I have issues with religion and authority. So, and hey, you know, I'm a metal musician. You know, I feel it's my job to piss off religious people and show them, you know, and expose their ignorance and hypocrisy. You know, if it's not my job, who's going to do it, right?
Right. Somebody's got to do it. You know,
it's a dirty job, and somebody's got to do it.
Last one. I mean, I literally could ask you questions about every tune on here. The last one that I got is "Over But the Bleeding." I mean, to me, man, that's not a song. That's a horror movie. You know, that's a horror movie soundtrack. Yeah, that's a horror movie soundtrack. Little insight on that one. I mean, were your horror movie influenced on that one, or just?
Oh yeah. I mean, you know, all the guys in the band are big horror film, you know, aficionados, and the idea was we thought we wanted, you know, we thought it'd be nice to have some kind of heavy, slower song on the you know, on the track list, and I'd been toying around with that for years, and I'd actually had another version of it, and I retooled it, and for this release, and it's I think it worked out really well. It's different, you know. It's heavy, and it's a story, you know. It's a story with, you know, with a message, you know. Beware, you know, where you're going, what you're doing, you know.
Yeah.
Watch out for that boogeyman behind the tree, you know.
Yeah.
And the dark house is set back among the trees, you know.
Yeah, great story tune, and that's what I like. You know, those story songs. You know, like Charlie Daniels Band, "Legend of the Woolly Swamp." You know, and even Warrant with Uncle Tom's Cabin. You know, those are just great story tunes. You know.
Yeah, that's my thing, man. It's like, to me, I'm a storyteller and songwriter first and foremost. So for me, every song has to kind of have a story. You know, and it's like you know, when you write a song, the lyrics are minimal, so it's almost like a poem.
Yeah.
But you can tell a lot. You can tell quite a lot of story, and selecting the right words, and you know,
Yeah,
that's the neat thing about songwriting. It's like little miniature stories.
absolutely. You also went back and re-recorded a couple of tunes from your debut, No Escape, Night of Pain and Terror, and you got John Marshall to do a new intro on Terror, and that must have been pretty cool.
Yeah, that was really cool because he was nice enough to do the intro for Swimming the Witch on the last release, and John doesn't get to play very much, and he's like a studio guy. He has his recording stuff, and he likes to write his songs and make his recordings in his own little home studio. So he did that for us, and then so I asked him, hey man, it'd be awesome if you could do something for this album. So he was down for it, and he whipped that up really quick. And the 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 re-recordings of Terror and Night of Pain were actually Bart Gabriel's idea. And he said, guys, those are such great songs. It's too bad, our first album, admittedly, wasn't the best production. It is your first album. You're just trying to figure shit out, and you're still green. So we didn't quite get the production that we could have had on that album, but so we thought those two songs would be good to re-record, and the whole recording project, actually, this one was plagued with all kinds of problems from the get-go. So there were challenges, and our original founding bass player, my best friend Bill Peterson, I had it all set up. He was going to play bass on those tunes because he was the original bass player on the recordings, and he passed away like the week before his studio session. So yeah, it was a bummer. And then Tim Narducci, his dad passed away like a couple weeks after that. So
wow.
We had a couple of major deaths during the process of this recording, and the whole recording took us like a year because of problems and setbacks and all kinds of stuff. So, and then those, and things like that were happening the whole time. Some people are dying and people are getting sick, and this is before the plague even hit.
Wow.
So
yeah.
And so now it's like, oh great, now we finally got the record done, and now we're releasing it in the middle of a worldwide pandemic. So I'm not sure how that's going to work out, but I guess we'll find out.
Yeah. Well, you've got a fairly captive audience. Everybody's looking for music, looking for something to play. So, but yeah, that's sad, that to lose the people so close to you like that,
Yeah, that's part of the cycle of life.
Yeah.
But I'm real pleased with the way the songs came out. All the guys did a great job on them, and I think they're an improvement over the original recordings.
Absolutely. Speaking of the cycle of life, I wanted to take you back a little bit. You started playing at age 9. You were influenced by your Uncle Joe. Now, Is Uncle Joe still alive?
Yeah, he's still around. I don't think he plays very much anymore. He and my cousin Randy do. They had been writing songs, and my cousin Randy wrote a script, and it got picked up by Clint Eastwood and was made into a movie called Behind the Curve.
Wow.
It's like a sports movie. I don't know if you ever heard of it or saw it.
I've heard of it, yeah.
They wrote some songs and got songs on there, and so those guys are getting fat royalty checks from that stuff, and I'm kicking myself because they invited me to be a part of that back when he first got signed with Warner Brothers or whatever it was to make that movie.
Yeah.
And they didn't tell me it was going to be a Clint Eastwood movie. He just said, hey, man, you want to come down and jam? And I was like, I live in San Francisco. They live in Los Angeles. So, and, their music is real poppy, pop-oriented, stuff, and it wasn't really my cup of tea. So I passed, Now that those guys got songs placed in major motion pictures,
Wow. How cool is it, though, and this is what I have realized so much, particularly in the last few years, to have that connection with a family member as opposed to just like, a friend or a guitar teacher or something, to have an uncle that influenced you and got you into guitar and got you kicked off and everything. And that must be a really cool connection to have.
Yeah, it was because at the time, when I was a very young man, my mom and dad, split up. So he was kind of like my role model for a while. And, he was cool. He had long hair. He had, played a Les Paul and a rock band. And, he inspired me and he encouraged me But I think it kind of backfired on a little bit because I would constantly be pestering him to show me riffs and stuff. I think I started to get on his nerves after a while. He'd show me something, if I bug him long enough, he'd show me something just so I'd leave him alone. So I'd go, because I'd go up in my room and play it for 5 days, until I figured it out.
Now, he took you to your first show at the Oakland Coliseum. Was the Monkees with Jefferson Airplane opening?
Actually, he didn't take me there, but my best friend at the time, his name was Joe Long. His mom bought him tickets for his birthday or something, and he invited me to go. So yeah, that was my first concert in 1968, I think, 67. 67 or 68, whichever one. You could check up which it is. But yeah, it was I think Jefferson Airplane opened, and it was too bad. If it was the year before, I think it would have been Hendrix.
Yeah, I was gonna say you just missed seeing Hendrix open for.
Just Hendrix. Yeah, that would have been something.
But that's just as strange a lineup. Hendrix with them, and then they bring out Jefferson Airplane. Obviously, they didn't learn the first time. That must have been a strange double bill.
It was weird, but I was just so much in awe of the whole thing, and I was just a kid. I was, we were 7 or 8 years old. I was born in '61, so I was 5 or 6 or 7,
Okay.
But I loved the TV show, and my parents had got me, before I actually got a real guitar, they bought me like one of those funny toy guitars. It was like a Monkees guitar, had the Monkees on it, and a little amplifier. And I would sit in my bedroom, with my little amplifier, and I'd play to my Monkey records. And two little girls from down the street would come up and watch me through my window. So I had my little groupies there already at that age, and but from that point on, I knew what I wanted to do.
Yeah, absolutely. That's cool. That's very cool. Talking with Dan Watson, guitarist for the band Hexx, their new album Entangled in Sin, coming out September 25th on High Roller Records. Dan, I always like to wind things up with sort of some silly questions. I'm hoping these are questions you've never been asked. Sound good?
Sure, shoot.
We talked about how you liked the band was all horror movie aficionados. Halloween night, what's your go-to double feature horror movies?
Oh, I always watch the original Halloween,
Yep.
Because I have really fond memories of that. The first time I saw the movie was at the Hilltop Drive-In Theater, and it was with Kirk Hammett from Metallica.
Wow.
And it was before Kirk was somebody. Back then he was just a nerd,
Yeah.
And we watched that movie in a drive-in theater, and smoked some pot and drank some beer, and it was just such a good vibe, and the movie was so great. I always watch that movie.
Yeah.
And the other one I love to watch is God, there's so many I love to watch, but I always watch the it's under several names. One of the names is Burn Witch Burn. It's with Christopher Lee.
Okay, yeah. Yep.
And there's another name for it too. It's no, not Black Sunday. But I always watch Black Sunday too. But
yeah.
Oh my God, I could go on and on with all the one. Halloween, man. It's not just one day. The whole month of October, I watch all kinds of. Yeah. I get into all the monster movies and horror movies in all October.
Absolutely, Black Sunday. That's the one with Barbara. Black Sunday's the one with Barbara Steele, right?
Yes, yeah. I love Barbara Steele.
Yeah, very cool.
Awesome.
Very cool. My go-to one generally is The Haunted Palace with Vincent Price.
Oh yeah.
Kind of.
I love Vincent Price too, man. You can't go wrong with him.
No. So what are you going to have for a snack while you're watching those horror movies?
My whole diet has had to change. I used to eat like a regular guy, pizzas and burgers and wash it down with beer and whiskey. And now I just can't eat that stuff anymore. I've had to switch over to a plant-based, vegetarian, vegan diet. And had to stop drinking alcohol. I've been at this end of this month. It'll be a year since I had a drink of alcohol. Mm-hmm. So I might have some steamed vegetables.
Okay.
Brown rice.
There you go. Given your choice of,
man, what can I say? I can't eat like that anymore.
So you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, I want to be around. My doctor said I wasn't going to make it to my next birthday if I didn't stop drinking. So.
Good reason not to. Right. I'm glad you gave it up, Dan. I'm glad you gave it up.
It was hard, man.
I can believe it. Yeah.
Drinking. you know, I got really good at it after 30 years or so, you know.
True. Given your choice of household chores, would you rather do dishes or the laundry?
Oh, you know, no one has ever asked me that.
Okay.
I guess I would rather do the dishes.
All
You know,
right.
I'm the dishwasher of the house. We don't have an actual dishwasher, so I wash all our dishes by hand.
There you go.
And sometimes I'll just take a couple of hits off of Jay, and you know,
Yep.
just do the dishes. You know, I've done so many. It's what's one more dish, right?
Exactly. First car you bought with your own money.
A 1969 Firebird.
Nice.
I bought it for $400.
Wow.
And it looked like it cost $400. But I worked on it, and I got it all primered black. This was my senior year in high school.
Yeah.
It was my first car, and the thing had a 350 engine, had a 350 turbo transmission.
Nice.
You know, it looked like a race car. Bought big fat tires and some mags on it. I got some from some friend of mine. I didn't have any money, you know, so I was making it a poor man's sports car, but it had that white vinyl interior, you know, so I spray painted it all black, spray painted the headliner black, black primer the outside. It looked pretty tough when I pull up to high school. You know, I had my Scorpions and Judas Priest blasting on my stereo, so it fit my heavy metal image in high school very well.
Now, did you have cassette or an 8-track in it?
I had a cassette at that point.
Okay. Let's see. Favorite old school wrestler?
You know, I never got into wrestling.
Really?
The only wrestler I really know of is Hulk Hogan.
Okay. A lot of guys go with him, so you can do that. Let's see. What is the last music you listened to other than your own?
The last music I listened to other than my own.
Other than your own.
What was it? Oh, Martin Denny.
Martin Denny. I've never heard of him.
Martin Denny. He's like lounge. You know what lounge music is?
Yeah.
It's like exotic music from the 50s. Martin Denny. Who's some of the other guys?
Okay.
Les Baxter.
Okay. Heard of him.
They do this. This is cool. It's all mostly instrumental stuff, you know. But I listen to that in the morning. There's the other thing I listen to is called Organs in Orbit. It's like from the 50s, you know, these organ tunes.
Yep.
Yeah, you know, I think the last thing I was listening to that this morning, some Martin Denny.
Very cool. Last one, and this is the one we have the most fun with. If they were to make a movie of your life, what actor would you have portray you in the movie? It's your movie, your life. You can pick anybody.
Oh, it'd be Johnny Depp.
Johnny Depp.
Without question.
He's probably the number one answer for most guys that I've asked this question to.
I'm not being original, then, am I?
Well, I mean, everybody seems to admire his work. They say he's got, a great depth of character. The different people that he's portrayed and everything. And a lot of guys have picked Johnny Depp. So.
Yeah, well, I wish I looked like that. So I guess that's what it is.
Me too. So. Well, Dan, this has been a blast talking to you. Good luck going forward. What are the plans for Hexx going forward? I mean, have you been able to do, any videos? Obviously, touring is off the table for a while. What's the plan for Hexx? Just to get back into music, for one last question, what's Hexx got going forward?
We're just kind of going to see what happens with the release of the record. Like I said, we don't have any touring plans. We don't, we're not being invited to any festivals or anything. So. I don't know. We may do some kind of video or something like that, I imagine. Yeah. It's still up in the air right now. I guess it'll kind of depend on if anybody likes the record. If the record stirs up enough interest in the band, we'll probably do something.
Sounds good. Once again, talking with Dan Watson, guitarist for the band Hexx, their new album Entangled in Sin, coming out September 25th. High Roller Records. Dan, thank you very much for your time. I have enjoyed this chat immensely. Hope you have as well. We'll talk to you again.
Pleasure all mine, Lance. Thank you.
All right. Take care, and hopefully we'll chat again soon.
All right, take care, man. Good luck.
Bye-bye.
All righty, bye-bye.